All right. Anyway, we've already gone massively on a huge tangent
That's what we do.
for a podcast episode that we haven't even planned.
Yeah,
We're just making it up as we go.
look, it's all good. The narrator will clean it up in post.
That's good. Okay. Thank you, narrator.
Moments of Madness Season 3.
We're talking about the weird things that non-neurotypical people do, and we're quite happy with our weirdness, but normal people look at us and go, "You're mad."
Welcome to Moments of Madness Season 3, Episode 8. In this episode, Marley interviews AJ about her recent holiday, but not before. There was approximately 5 minutes of rambling about how hard it is to be an adult in the world these days.
Thank you, narrator.
I need to know how I got in touch with the narrator because that was your thing that you did.
Like it was just I just randomly Googled text to speech
Oh, okay, fair enough.
and went
I
looking
do.
for an older gentleman, mature gentleman type British,
Okay,
because
yeah.
obviously if you're going to have a narrator, they should be British.
All right.
I don't know. I just fucked around and found out.
That's how we do.
Yeah. All right. So AJ went on leave and left Marley holding the fort down, which is why you guys haven't had a podcast in the last 2 weeks. Because she left Marley responsible.
Hey, I uploaded the Easter episode. I wasn't
And
like
I edited
completely
it.
leaving you twisting in the wind.
Oh no, I didn't mean that you left me twisting in the wind. I meant you left me responsible. That's like leaving the chipmunk guarding the nut pile. It's like, I could stop all it, or I could throw it around for a while. Yeah. So anywho.
You make it
Um
sound like I'm the responsible one, like somehow I've got all my shit together.
I wouldn't go that far, but of the two of us, I would say you're the more responsible.
It's a low bar.
Let's not get it twisted here. The bar's in hell. But Marley really needs someone like an accountability buddy. I don't need you to sit on my
Yeah.
shoulder and look over my shoulder and do my work, but I need to know that someone's going to be upset and disappointed if I don't deliver.
Yes.
And you were too busy running off around like Australia and Auckland.
Yes. I was
No one was
literally.
key. Yes, so
Well, not
that's
actually, wasn't really running very much, but
I'd be disappointed, but yeah, it's not like I run. I'm in no place to judge. Anywho, let's reel it back in. This is supposed to be
okay,
about
wow.
AJ's
This
vacation.
is what happens when we don't like chat for 3 weeks. We're just all over the place. Anyway, squirrel.
Squirrel.
Okay.
Right, so
Starting over.
starting over.
Part 1, Perth and Rottnest Island.
So, AJ, you went on
Yes,
vacation, and that
I
started,
did.
as I understand it, flying to Perth and meeting up with your daddy.
I did. So my dad, I'm going to think of a diplomatic way of saying this. My dad is retired,
Mm.
and he and my stepmother are extreme forward planners, which
So
sometimes
not us at
sometimes is
all.
at odds with myself and my husband. But so last year we had a family gathering in Hawaii because it was kind of like halfway between them and us, roughly close enough. And it was an easy location for everyone to get to. And my dad celebrated slightly delayed from the actual date his 80th birthday.
Mhm.
And I think it was maybe like 3 months after that he's like, so when are we going to do the next holiday? And they are actually like booking things in like mid last year.
Oh, good God.
So anyway, my dad was like, I really want to go somewhere I haven't really been before in Australia because his reckoning was this was his 18th trip to Australia since I've moved here.
Hmm.
And he has been to a lot of the states and territories, but he hadn't been to WA and Perth. And I was kind of like, oh, you and Sarah, my stepmom, should do the Indian Pacific. I think you'd really enjoy it. And then for some reason, Sarah sort of thought that you were stuck on the train the whole time or something. She just thought you were like, it would be too confining.
Yeah.
Now that she's
once you get on there, you're not allowed back off.
Yeah. Now that she's heard us talking about it, I think she realized that it wasn't quite like that. But yeah. So she was like, I don't want to do that. And we're like, really? And so I told my dad, yeah, well, I would like to do the Indian Pacific if you're keen. So we decided, we had some brainstorming, and we decided we would start in Perth, take the train to Sydney, and then all kind of end up in Auckland together for the second half of the trip. So everyone, like grandkids, could play with grandparents, and everyone could do things in New Zealand, because they didn't really have, they've been to Sydney enough times as tourists, and it's hard enough to find cheap accommodation. They were like, we don't want to do Sydney again, let's do something else. That was fine. So yeah, I flew out to Perth by myself. I met my dad there, and we had one day before we got on the train, so we went to Rottnest Island, which was also on my bucket list. Unfortunately, that was the day that like the one day of the year that WA gets all of its rain. So Cyclone Narelle had made its way around the northern part of Australia and had hit landfall again for like the second or third time in northern Western Australia, and we just got dumped on. And Rottnest Island is not really the kind of place you want to hang out when it's really rainy, but we still made the most of it that we could, and we had fun. And they have this little like heritage train that's like really basically kind of like a tram more than a train. It's like small gauge, and there's just one car that's the engine and the car all in one thing. So we rode on that out to that. So there was like during World War II, they built bunkers and put big guns out there just in case there was any invasion on the Indian Ocean side to kind of defend Australia.
Yeah, nobody wants the western side of Australia. I don't know.
Yeah, apparently there were never any official shots fired, just like, you know, practice shots. So it was pretty quiet out there. But you know, they had the guns there to protect Perth and stuff like that. So you know, the first part of our tour was we ride the little train out to the bunkers, and they take you on a tour of that, and you got to see the big guns that are still there and stuff. But on the train, there were maybe 8 of us all up. It was like almost nobody on the island that day because it was so rainy. So the driver was like, who wants to drive the train? And I'm like, Dad, go up. So he was just like giggling like a small child because he got to sit in the driver's seat and push the little button and goes, and you know, you don't really drive or anything like, but he got to sit in the driver's seat. So that was like the highlight of the day. And everything else was just like wet and miserable.
Part 2, Life on the Indian Pacific.
So then next day in the evening, we drove out to the train station in Perth, and we rocked up, and I did not realize the Indian Pacific is like 800 meters long. It was so long. It was longer than the platform. Like you couldn't even, we were right at the back, so we couldn't even get on at our carriage. We had to get on like basically in the lounge car and then walk back. So so
they don't even move it forward so you can board in shifts. No, that's rude.
not there anyway.
That means you had to walk 800 meters?
No. So we only had to walk through, I think, about 3 or 4 carriages. So it wasn't too bad. Like they kind of
800
they,
meters, that means like the train is the better part of a kilometer long.
it is, yeah, it was
Wow.
insane. But we only kind of stayed in our section because like they call it gold class, but basically we were like the budget economy class.
Do you
And we only stayed in
do you
our
have like a
area.
sleeping berth?
Yeah.
Okay.
So everyone has a berth. And then I guess there's like gold plus and then platinum class or something. And I'm assuming they had more room. Like our spaces, because we each had little single cabins. You basically have, just a little bit extra room, space than the bed.
Yep.
Like if you have the door closed, you can kind of just stand up if you suck in your gut. It's very tight.
So do the beds convert back into seats for during the day,
Yeah.
or is okay?
Yeah. So the staff do it all for you too, which is really nice. So yeah, you kind of like when we got in, it was set up with like a little table. You could fold the table down if you wanted some leg room, but there's like a table and 2 seats. And then yeah, when you go to dinner, the staff will come and like make up all the beds, so it's like just waiting for you after dinner and you can lie down.
Nice.
And there's a little tiny sink in there and some storage. That's like, we basically just had tiny luggage that we could kind of stash under the bed.
Yep.
But yeah, if you had more luggage, you couldn't access it. So you basically have to bring whatever clothes you want to wear on the train with you in a small kind of bag or whatever.
Okay, so not a trip Marley will be making.
And yeah, for us, like, because we had singles, there was like a shared shower that was actually pretty spacious in our carriage.
Yeah.
And some extra toilets and stuff. And then they had double rooms as well, but the double rooms had like bunk beds. So if you wanted to go with your family or like a partner or something, I think that would be really weird. You don't go if you want to sleep next to someone. Unless I don't know, maybe in the platinum rooms or something you can have a bigger bed, but there's not a lot of space. Don't go if you're claustrophobic, basically. And then there's like a shared lounge car that had like a bar and snacks and lots of tables that you could sit at and chat with people or play games. They even had live entertainment some nights. So they had like a trivia night where they had like a musician who kind of rides with you and like plays at some of the stops, and he did trivia one night, which was kind of fun. And then next to that is the dining car, and basically they have like a fairly big window for you to eat, because there's like not enough seats for everyone to sit down at the same time. You kind of eat in shifts, and the food was like really good. It was really nice. And yeah, they had full chef and kitchen staff.
You get to choose what you're eating, or do they have set meals that?
You usually had choices.
Okay.
It was pretty limited menu, so there was usually only most meals had 3 courses, even breakfast, which I thought was kind of bananas. But you could have like a starter, a main, and a dessert at breakfast if you wanted. Yep. It wasn't like, they were all breakfasty, like if the dessert might be like a sweet muffin or something like that, but you could have it. And there were usually 2 or 3 options of each. So, for mains, you might choose like either the fish or the chicken or the beef or whatever, or they usually had a vegetarian option too. But I imagine if you had like specific dietary needs, you could kind of tell them up front, because they were very like the service and the staff were all really, really good. And they were always really responsive. So
overall, let's get a rating on this trip. And would you recommend?
Okay. So first I have to talk about the downsides. And one of the downsides.
What, the sleeping accommodation wasn't a downside?
No, well, not for me, because I'm weird and I like sleeping in small spaces. So I was totally happy. It was like bringing back childhood memories of being all tucked in on my sailboat in my little cabin. Yeah, that part was fine for me. But yeah, your mileage may vary, obviously. And, I thought the beds were comfortable, but they might not be comfortable for everyone. There might be different body sizes that didn't fit as well, because like they weren't like if you were really tall, I could imagine that being a challenge as well in those little single cabins. But for me, that part was fine. There was a bit of a plumbing kerfuffle as well. Apparently one of the toilets had some kind of issue and it didn't flush early on in the trip. And then for most of the rest of the trip, there was this lingering odor, which was really unfortunate. But yeah, I think that was just a really unlucky event to have happen. I don't think there was anything inherently problematic about it. But like it was driving me and my dad crazy. And then he realized that some of the smell was actually coming up through the sink in his cabin. So he had to push the plug down in the sink, and so he didn't catch the smell anymore. And yeah, the staff did obviously clean it up, but for some reason, I guess because there's a tank, sitting under the carriage or whatever, it just didn't get rid of the smell fully, and it was in the drains or something, and just not fun. Which was fine, because most of the time, like if we had our doors closed, you couldn't smell it, or if we were in the lounge car, we couldn't smell it. It was just when you were walking down this one stretch of hallway, it was really quite unpleasant. It was like, portaloo smell, basically. So yeah. The other downside is, and then again, really your mileage may vary, but the demographic was definitely skewed towards retirees. So, so not that I have any ageism or anything, but that you just kind of have to, if you're kind of looking for lively, youthful conversation or whatever, you may not necessarily find it. That said, we did meet some really cool people.
Retirees can be hella fun.
Some of them can be. Some of them were really painful to sit and talk to. And like the seating for meals was groups of 4, and they always had to sit someone with you, because there just wasn't room for you to have like a table to yourself. So there were a lot of like really nice people that we chatted with, and some of them were more like my age or even younger. But man, there were some people where it was really painful, and partly my dad contributed to this, and no shade to him, but his hearing was quite bad. Like he spent a lot of his career around really noisy machinery, and his hearing's not so good. He's got hearing aids, but he still could. There were some people he just couldn't carry on a conversation with, especially if they were like British, because he just couldn't make out their accents. So half the time I was like having to interpret for him. Like, Dad, I think they said blah, blah, blah.
Industrial deafness?
Yeah.
As my mother just referred to it, as selective hearing.
There were some people who were just, you're not a great person, and I'm stuck on a train with you. Oh, it's you again. So the train stopped in Kalgoorlie, which was okay. It wasn't my favorite. There were a couple of interesting experiences there. It stopped at Cook, which there's literally nothing there. It was just a place for the train to restock on water and supplies and stuff. There was supposed to be an event there that like you get out and there's like drinks and a bonfire, and the musician guy was like playing some music. But for Kalgoorlie, we had to get up super early in the morning, and then we were sitting there waiting to get out. Like they were basically trying to set up, stairs and stuff for everyone to get out. And we were waiting for like over an hour. And so by the time we got off the train, my dad and I were just like, yeah, we're bored now. Get back to bed. I'm tired. And there's nothing really that like, if it had been a little bit earlier, we probably would have sat out for a while. But yeah. So we stopped at Cook. There was a bonfire. It was kind of cool, but yeah, nothing worth like by the time we kind of got off the train, it was already like 10 o'clock at night, and we'd been up since 6 in the morning, and we're like, okay, going to bed now. Goodbye. Then there was a lot of just looking at flat nothing. And then we stopped at Adelaide, where we got on a coach and drove to Seppeltsfield Winery in the Barossa Valley, which was really beautiful. But again, that one was running a little bit late, so it felt very abbreviated. We didn't really get to walk around, but they've served us dinner there at the winery, which was delicious and amazing. And they had very cruise ship vibes, live music. So they had the band, and of course they did like Neil Diamond songs and stuff like that, and got people dancing into a conga line by the end of it. But I really enjoyed that stop because we bumped into a couple from the UK who were younger, and the guy was in the tech industry. So we just were chatting about all sorts of things. But he was originally from France, and because my dad had stayed in France for a year, he was very much like
found the friend.
And his wife was actually Russian, which was funny too. So it was like an interesting background. And yeah, we had a lot of we just kept talking about stuff. And then after Adelaide, a bunch of people also left, because you don't have to ride all the way through to Sydney. You can get out at Adelaide. So yeah, we got back on the train that evening after we'd had dinner at the winery. And then the next day was Broken Hill, and I was kind of in my mind thinking Broken Hill would be more like Kalgoorlie. But what happens is at most of the stops, you get a choice. So everybody can kind of like opt in. You're not guaranteed to get your choice of activity, but you get it. Most people get what they ask for, and then sometimes they have to shuffle it around. Broken Hill, one of the options was themed around Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. And you got
is this where the drag queen was?
Yes, you got to be taken on a walking tour of Broken Hill by a drag queen. So when my dad was,
of course, you signed up for that.
Yeah, when my dad was like, "What activities do you want to do?" and that one of them was like drink wine and do painting at the art gallery, and one of them was something else I can't remember now.
Yeah, I can do that shit at home.
Yeah, and I'm like,
a drag queen
boring,
giving me a tour of Broken Hill.
We're doing the drag queen, and I'm pretty sure I really pushed my dad out of his comfort zone at first. He was like, his was born in 1944. He was a child of the 50s. He's not close-minded, but this was like well outside his wheelhouse. And so he wasn't sure at first, but he had a blast. We both loved it. It was really good. It was so funny. It was so well done too. It was really interesting. And it wasn't just so like some of the stops we're talking about filming locations for Priscilla, the Queen of the Desert, but some of it was just like local history and stuff that had happened with the mines and things like that. It was really well done. And then the final stop was at this venue called the Tipsy Camel, which was actually, I think, a historic building as well. So
I'm glad
really
that thirsty
cool.
camel finally found something to drink.
It was very alcoholic, apparently, because the camel got tipsy. And we had a full drag show and like games, and we played bingo and stuff like that. And I won a t-shirt. Woo!
Nice.
So yeah, that was super fun. And we both really enjoyed that. That was like the perfect day, basically. And that all happened really early in the morning too. So I think we got on the train again around lunchtime. And then the final day was at the Blue Mountains. And I have obviously been to the Blue Mountains before. It's not that far from where I live. But mostly just been to Katoomba. So this was more on the further up at the Mount Victoria area. So we got out of Mount Victoria, and then there were a few bus stops, and then we went to the Hydro Majestic, which is one of the oldest hotels in New South Wales as well, built by some super rich department store owning guy from Sydney, to be like a wellness retreat. And it was all like about hydrotherapy and stuff, like all these weird, and sort of like the late 1800s, those weird health cures inspired by Kellogg and that kind of vibe. So that was a fun day, and we had high tea at the hotel, which was all very shishi and la-di-da. It was nice. It was way more than we could eat.
All right, so that's the downsides and everything. So recommendations?
So overall, I would say if it's your kind of thing, like 9 out of 10. The actual fit out of the rooms, like it was a little bit, you could tell that the carriage fit out was getting on a little bit.
It might even be like, even if you're not into that kind of thing, if you're into experiences,
it
might still be a definite 9 out of 10.
If you like cruises, you will probably like this. It's just there's a little bit.
You understand why I like cruises.
What?
I liked my cruise. I hella want to go on another one, but there's space and pools and many different eating options and shopping options, and it's basically a fucking hotel resort on the water.
Yeah, this is more like a motel version of a cruise on land. But that said, it's a motel with excellent service and really, really good food.
And then, 20 tangents later, part 3, Auckland, New Zealand.
Anyway, back to your...
I haven't even gotten halfway through.
I was like looking at the time
going, like the first 5 days.
Episode 1 will be the train trip, and then we'll regroup again for New Zealand.
Well, I think...
Or it'll be like, train. Oh, and we went to New Zealand.
Yeah, well, New Zealand... there's probably less to chat about, but
you had Martian Kiwis.
The big highlights.
What was with the red color?
Well, so that you give you red torches.
Oh,
because the Kiwi birds only have black and white visions. They can't actually see the red frequency at all. It's like they're completely blind to it. So you can see them, but they can't see you, and they don't get scared. So yeah, that was actually the last thing we did though. So going back to the beginning, we did do the Museum of Transportation and Technology, which was pretty cool. Like if you're a computer nerd like me, that's really fun because they have one area of the museum, one of the halls is all dedicated to like old school tech. So they had like mainframe computers, teletypes, old IBMs. They had like every kind of old school tape player and reel to reel recording devices in there. And that was really, really fun and kind of nostalgic. And then they had this was my son Owen's favorite. They had a whole like giant hangar with a bunch of old planes. So you take like a little historic tram to the like the airplane section, and they had some really cool old planes, and he was just in heaven like running around looking at all of those. And they had then they had another area that my daughter really liked that was more like modern technology stuff. And they were doing like they were teaching their kids like statistics and science. So they had all these little challenges where like you measure your reaction time to stuff, and you had like the classic carnival hit the thing with the mallet and it goes up, and then they would give you your official measurements, and then you could go and put it on the board, and it was making a graph of like what everybody's data points were, so they could kind of visualize, you know, how you collect statistics and get averages and stuff like that. So that was really cool.
You were in nerd heaven.
I was in nerd heaven. There were a few nerd heaven events, and the other nerd heaven was the Weta workshop experience. So Weta is a special effects company, and the thing that they're most famous for was they did a lot of the practical effects for Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit.
Absolutely not where my brain went, where you said Weta.
Weta is a Maori word that is this weird, ugly cricket, because they got their start apparently doing like horror movies and stuff like that. And they had worked with Peter Jackson before when he was more in his like gross out phase. But I think they did other stuff as well. So I think their main workshop is down in Wellington, but in Auckland they have like basically converted the floor of this high rise next to the Sky Tower into like basically special effects movie nerd heaven. And you can walk through it on a tour. Everything is like
is this where the mirror with the filter
yeah
okay.
Everything's hands-on. They explain how they do a lot of the makeup effects, set design, art, you know, stuff like art department stuff. How there's one, they basically, what the way that they've done it was they made up 3 movies, right? Like they're not fully realized, but they basically came up with 3 film concepts, and then each area of the tour they kind of show you how they would implement that movie or different aspects of that movie. So they had like a horror movie, straight up fantasy, and like a sci-fi with a giant robot. And the horror movie they had stuff like that was the one where they did the makeup mirrors, and but they also had like creatures that they built, and you could do stuff with them, like you know, like the animatronics, you could move and puppet the giant creatures and things, which was really cool. That one does have like some jump scary bits, but they tell you ahead of time before you go through, so you can opt out and just like escape hatch into but of course we went through it, and it did get me, but it was pretty cool. I liked it. Yeah, so I really enjoyed that. We did 1-day trip to a place called Waitama, which is like that one was about 2.5-hour drive south of Auckland, and that has one of the sets of glowworm caves that you can go to, which was very, very cool.
That I'm interested in. I would love to go to glowworm caves.
Yeah. it was very there were a few stairs down, but other than that, it was very walkable. Um, Definitely not claustrophobic at all. And then you get into a pretty good sized boat, like, just sort of tinny boat. And then they basically the tour guide stands up and holds onto these ropes. Like they don't even row it. They just kind of pull you along through into the area where all like it's completely dark and all the glowworms are. So it looks really cool. And they had a lot of good facts about the caves and glowworms and stuff like that. Because it's a full-on limestone cave with all the crazy formations and like stalactites and stalagmites and things like that, which I always enjoy. And then you kind of come out of the cave mouth and they pull up to a little dock, and then you get out and go back to the entrance. So that was really fun. And then they have two other caves that you can go through. One which is really, really easy to get into, but we just did the glowworm one. So that was really fun, even though it rained the entire way there, the entire way home. And then,
but that's okay. You were undercover while you were there.
Yeah, like inside the cave, it didn't matter. It was just like a little sprinkled on walking from the car park and stuff. And there's even like a full restaurant there. Well, more like a cafe. There's like a full cafe there, so you could eat there. We got ice creams. The ice cream was pretty good. And then we had actually booked the Kiwi tour for the night that the cyclone was due to hit. So cyclone Vaianu hit Fiji really hard, and then it was going to hit New Zealand, and they weren't sure how intense it was going to be. So that, like everybody's phone was going off like a frog in a sock, because the government was sending out these alerts to everyone's phone, like there's a cyclone coming. Make sure you have bottled water because we don't know what's going to happen. Shelter in place. It turned out to be kind of a nothing burger for Auckland, at least. I don't know if anywhere else got hit harder, but it was
I wonder if they meme as hard as Australia does. Like when the cyclone, what was it, about 10 years ago, was going to hit like Rockhampton area, they were all told to batten down the hatches. It was going to be bad, and the next thing, next day, was like all these memes of like Rockhampton, like post cyclone, and like a plastic chair blown over. We will rebuild.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't catch any sarcastic memes or anything, but yeah, it was just rainy, and there were a few little gusts of wind, but it was nothing worrisome. But we were basically stuck inside all that Sunday. So we rebooked our Kiwi spotting tour for the night before we were gonna fly back home. And it was gorgeous. Like we got there, the clouds were all clearing away. We got there right before sunset. There's this beautiful peninsula. There's a marine reserve there, and so there's this amazing view. The whole area is completely fenced off, so they can keep out like anything that would predate on the Kiwis. So like no cats, no rats. Stoats, I think, are another one that have been imported to New Zealand that are causing problems for the birds. You drive up to this park, and
they're only this big and they can't run very fast.
No, they're bigger. They're more like this big.
They're this big in my head.
No, they're actually this big. They're like chicken sized. But
No, Kiwis are cute. Don't make me equate them with chickens. I hate chickens. They're ugly and aggressive and mean and nasty creatures.
Yeah,
that's why we eat them.
I think you've just met the wrong chickens. Anyway, so you drive up to the, like, it's a long, super windy drive, and then you come up to this wall around it, and the gates, even like the way they've done it, it feels kind of fortressy. Like they're like plexiglass gates or something that are completely sealed up. So when you drive up, then they open like a grocery store doors or something, and you drive through. And there's a bunch of other like native birds that hang out there, but
Are there wekas?
Workers.
Weka. Weka.
Oh, yeah. But we didn't see any.
Oh.
We saw lots of what are they, coots or something like that, but we didn't see any wekas. And yeah, so they basically, once they had sealed it off, they put in like a small breeding population of what were they, brown something kiwi birds. And there's now like, so they think they started with 20 and now there's like hundreds. So it's working pretty well to restore the kiwi numbers. Yeah, and then so we met at the car park. Our poor tour guide was running late, so we were like starting to panic because it was getting dark and there was no one there. Everyone else had left. We were like, oh shit, what happened? But fortunately she showed up like maybe 15 minutes late, because they have a shuttle service where the tour guide will drive you from somewhere else and bring you. And so like there was a car full of people, and like finally we're not the only people here in the middle of this nowhere with birds. They give you all of the kit. So like we had some night vision goggles. They weren't that great quality, but yeah, the red torches. So that's why my photos are all red, because the red wavelength the Kiwis can't see, and it's easier on your own night vision as well to have the red light. So everyone had torches with red lights. It made everything look kind of weird and creepy, but it was cool. And we hiked out.
One thing we get wrong a lot is like everyone thinks that blue light is the most calming and relaxing, but the red light wavelength is actually better for us for for sleep and relaxation.
Yeah, it ties. I think my understanding is it ties in with like the wavelength of light that you get in the evening, so it makes you sleepier and calmer to have red toned light. And yeah, we just hiked out. Everybody had to keep really quiet, and we looked around and we've spotted, I think, at least 2 kiwis. There might have been a few more that I missed. There were a couple of times where I saw people stop up ahead and we caught up to them, and then everybody moved on. So I don't know if we just missed one or if it was a nothing stop. But yeah, you were kind of, there's lots of like peeking around under bushes and stuff, but we could see a few of them. They were poking around in the dirt for food. Basically, that was all that was happening. But it was still cool to think like very, very, very few people have seen them in the wild, and now I'm one of them. Woohoo!
Nice.
And
I think it's cool. I love the video too, because it really looks like a bird foraging on Mars.
Yeah, it totally does.
Entertains me so much.
And we stopped at a couple of points and got like the little spiel about kiwi birds. And one fact that stuck with me that I didn't know is that because their eggs are so big, like they're massively giant for their body size, they've evolved so that they don't have any breastbone or rib cage at all. So if you pick one up, you can't pick it up by the body like you would a normal bird. You have to kind of like grab.
It goes squishy.
Yeah, there's like, it has nothing protecting its organs and lungs.
Basically makes them a living stress ball.
Yeah. Well, they wouldn't be living for long if you squeeze them, I think. But you have to kind of like pick them up under their feet and hold them by the neck so that you don't like suffocate them, basically. Yeah, it's kind of not a surprise that kiwis are in danger. Basically, like they have no defenses whatsoever. They're just little floof balls. So yeah, that was my summary of my trip, and I posted a bunch of stuff on Mastodon as well with photos and details, and I'm done half of my trip on my blog, where I've got another blog post to come soon.
About it, endings and goodbyes, so fuck off till next time. Like and subscribe for more anti-social abuse.
Thank you for listening to Moments of Madness podcast with Molly and AJ. Subscribe on our website, Spotify, Apple Podcasts or YouTube, and please leave a comment or join our Discord server for more madness. Talk to your GP to find out if Moments of Madness is right for you. Side effects include distraction, inappropriate laughter, eye rolling, as if, social anxiety, headache, nausea, drowsiness, and memory loss. Moments of Madness, as if. Goodbye, Greer.